All right, let's do this. Welcome, everybody. Good to be with you. Russell, good to see you. Awesome, awesome. Yeah, we're gonna have some fun with this. I figure election day, a lot of uncertainty out there, and so I'm going to be talking today as we record some hopeful messages, I should say. Hopefully hopeful. I don't know. Hopefully hopeful messages. So just a few logistics here. As I make sure that I turn off my notifications, I would actually suggest that you do the same for the next hour or so. A great way to focus is to get rid of the distractions, get rid of all the things that are going on in the background. Turn off Slack. Spend some time. Let's grow together for a bit. So this is a recording, and so if you have any messages for me in the chat or anything like that, questions and things like that, feel free. But I might not answer them in line until the very end. But also, if you're tuning in live, we have a special treat for you. As we do at the end of every episode, we're recording live like this. I'm actually right now in the background here using AI to compose a song for today's episode. And once we're ready, we're going to generate that song, and you can vote on what style we should use for that song. And we'll have AI generate that, and we'll listen to it and figure out which one we like best. Always a fun time, always incredibly amusing. But yeah, we'll get into that today. So it's going to be some fun. All right. So as I arrange some things in the background here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go silent for just a few minutes so that my assistant who is editing this will know exactly where to start the podcast. So let me do that. All right. Welcome, everyone. I should say, welcome, my friend, to another episode of How to Thrive in IT. I am your host, DJ Eshelman, and I am here to help you thrive in your IT career instead of just merely surviving. We don't have much interest in being that simple, do we? No, we do not. Today, we're going to be talking about just a little bit about the future and some uncertainty. In fact, as I'm recording this, it's November 5th. It's election day. So as you're hearing this, you're likely going to be already aware of things that I'm not aware of. But there's a lot of uncertainty. There's a lot of questions we have. And so when it comes to that, one of the things that I'm hearing a lot of is, where should I be investing right now? And so I thought I would give you some perspectives on the things that I'm investing in and the things that I think you should be investing in as well. And so we're going to go through that together today. But today we have a few sponsors that I want to tell you about. One is myself. We are launching a virtual CTO offering, but we'll be telling you more about that a little bit later. So yeah, so here's the question. When it comes to investing, how do you make money? When it comes to doing things that make a sacrifice in the short term to make long-term success, how does that happen? And what things would I recommend to do? And so I look at my life and my career, and honestly, it has been a series of ups and downs. Like, I just have no even concept of how to describe to you. In fact, over the last 2 years or so, there's been some things that have come up that really, one, I suffered through a lot of uncertainty, but two, there were also times where I was able to get past a lot of uncertainty because of investments that I'd made. And so let me walk you through a little bit of that. So one is that I go back to very early on in my career, where I had invested in school, right? And I'm willing to bet a lot of us did that. We invested in college. Now, in my particular case, I didn't have a lot of support for that. My parents were not really able to support me all that much for college. I was pretty much on my own. I'm not really fitting into most of the categories where you have the scholarships and things like that. Did have some generous support along the way, which was fortunate, but it was a struggle to find ways to get that financial part of that investment, part of that done. But there's other things about school that were really important to know as investment. And one of the things we'll probably talk the most about today, just spoiler alert, is the most thing you can invest is your time. But there's other things that fall into this too. There's a lot of not only time but mind attention is probably the another way to say that is not just the time you spend, but there's another element of that where you are kind of spending brain cycles and challenging your brain a bit. And sometimes there are elements of challenging your body to invest. And then there's also money that we invest. And so when it came to school, I found that I had to do all four of those things. Invest my time, I had to invest my money, I had to invest literally my body as I worked my way through college, and I had to really just have the time to be there. It took in school, in university, in college, whatever you want to call it. I mean, for me, that was 4 years of being there. I couldn't do other things with that time. So that was an investment of my time, probably as much as anything else. And as I find out later in life, the time is actually worth the most. And so what I invested in college, time ended up being the thing that is the most valuable. So when it came to that, I invested in a degree that was in psychology. And I think I had two majors actually. One was, I think they called it religious studies. It was like a philosophy kind of a thing. And I don't know what I was possibly thinking about that. I think I just had some extra credit time that I had available. I went to a liberal arts school, and so you had a different structure with that. And so I just said, well, just might as well declare a double major, and went for it. And so we did it. But psychology was the main focus of that, and that's where I wanted to be. And so I started to get into that as a career early on, and I had the decision to make. Do I further invest in more college, as in master's degree, or do I just start working? And I said, you know what? Why don't I spend a year with this? I'll just spend a year working. And then if I decide that this is the way I want to go, then I will invest further in graduate studies. Again, in my particular case, financial support was a big deal. And so kind of having some recovery time made sense to me. And as it turns out for me, yeah, psychology, not the best choice for me as a career. Yeah, tried out a few things and really found that not just the bureaucracy and things like that, but there were just some elements that just really didn't work for me. And so I ended up, this was over Y2K. And this was, yeah, Y2K was a fun time because nobody really knew truly what they were doing. And I was one of them. And so I ended up having to be able to, or being able to be paid for figuring things out. And this is the first time in my life where that key really came to play of I'm not paid for what I know. I'm paid for what I can spend the time to figure out. In other words, this company was investing in my time and paying me for that. Sounds weird to say that, but that actually is a hallmark of my career. When I say I have a degree in Google Foo, I mean it. That has been the hallmark of my tech career, was just figuring things out, usually by searching out the answer and being paid not for what I know, but being responsible to figure it out. I hope that resonates with somebody today, because that's really, really a huge, huge key. Investing in your time is something that companies are doing with you. They're not investing in what you know, they're investing your time. Okay. So that's the first clue today, is that we know that we're paid based on our time, not necessarily on what we know, but we're paid a different scale, often based on what we know, our experiences, things like that are truly crucial when it comes to the amount we're paid total, right? So in my career, that ended up being very true. And I think this is a progression that most people go through, where they spend some time that they are with their employer and they're figuring out things. Most people my age, and I guess I've already given away that since I was talking about Y2K. I mean, obviously, my age is not that hard to figure out at this point, is it? But most of us were in a position where we didn't have a lot of resources to figure this stuff out. But what started to happen was some people that have become friends of mine at this point started to do things like write books. And so I was able to, in 2005, 2006, that time frame, finally start reading books that were actually useful for me in knowing more. And so I was able to invest some mind effort in going in through books and things like that, and spend some of my spare time, let's be honest, reading through books and figuring out how that was going to work. And so later on, I started, much later on, started doing consulting work and things like that, and found that all of a sudden my time is worth far more. So at that point, what happened? Well, I was able to make enough in about 2 years' time to get myself completely out of debt. So now what? Now I've got some extra money to deal with. Well, what do you do with extra money? You invest it, right? Hopefully. If all you do is spend it, if you're just buying a new car and every week or whatever, I don't know what that looks like, but if you are being foolish with your money and just throwing it away, or if, oh, heaven forbid, if you have one of those notions that money is just evil and you need to get it as far away from you as you can, and so you just you just buy everybody dinner or do all the things that seem like a good thing to do and just give it all away. Seems noble enough, but the truth is that if your motivation is just because you think it's evil, then you're probably not going to resonate with literally anything I'm going to say today. So you might as well just turn this off right now. But if you are a person that believes that money can be grown to help your family, if you can grow money to help others around you, and not just be for the sake of just having more, but you're actually able to do things with that money, then this is a message that is for you. So honestly, as far as that goes, now we are into investing, right? So we have these questions that come up as far as investing. What do I do? Do I, start buying a house? Do I buy other properties? Do I invest in real estate? Do I invest in the stock market? Do I invest in Bitcoin, or whatever the cryptocurrency or trading currencies, or all these kind of things that can happen. There's all sorts of different ways to invest our money, right? And so that was one of my first responses. It was like, oh gosh, I'm making more money. Now I have a what do you call that? Oh my gosh, I just totally blanked on what that's called. You have an excess brain, but you now have more money than you need to pay the bills. So yeah, you either spend it or invest it. So I started investing, and gosh, one of the first things I tried was actually Bitcoin, and I was one of those people that got kind of handed a little bit of a wake up call about that, as everything went away as part of the Mt. Gox drama. No, there is an end to that story that's slightly positive. Surplus. That's the name for when you have a budget surplus. Yes, but when you have a situation like mine where you put some money in and now all of a sudden it's gone. I did get some of it back later, just this year actually. I got some of that back, and just because I chose to get it back in Bitcoin instead of dollars. Smart move on my part there. So I got some of it back. That was good. But generally speaking, that was disheartening to see that money just go away. Just all of a sudden, just because of some glitch in some system somewhere, all of a sudden my money was gone. And so I recognized with that, with certain stocks that I maybe invested and sold off too soon or panicked, all these kind of things. So I found that stock market investing was just as much gambling as anything else, for me. And so then you have like real estate and things like that. And honestly, real estate is, and we'll talk about this here in a bit. We're going to be putting together a tier list of all this stuff. So don't you worry. That was a big one. But the other thing that remained constant with me is investing in myself. And I'll just go ahead and say it now. Far and away, I've looked at this. As far as returns on investment go, there is nothing that has exceeded me investing more in myself. Because, as I said before, you have a scale going on here. Yeah, you're paid for your time. You're paid for that one resource that you can never, ever get back. You can never get back more time. It is not possible. Once you've spent that time, it is gone. When I spend this hour with you, that hour cannot be retrieved. I cannot do anything more with that. I'm investing my time in you. That is the way this works. You're investing your time in yourself by sitting here listening to me. Hopefully this is that kind of useful to you. But the idea here is that you are paid based on giving a employer, a client, whatever that looks like, your time. And you're paid on a scale, typically, based on how much you've invested in your own ability to deliver and do so in a way that exceeds the value that it would normally be. So if you have a time as a baseline of a value, if you can picture just a flat line, and then that's maybe, I don't know, let's call that $10 an hour. I don't know. And then you have a level of experience that tells you how to get results faster. Well, is that worth more than $10 an hour to the average employer? Yes, absolutely. That might be worth more like 40 an hour or 50 an hour. Just because of that acceleration that happens there, they're able to get results more quickly. And that means that they are able to be more effective with their time and their dollars because of that. And so it is always worth an employer or a client giving you more money if you can be more effective. And so when it comes to information technology services, especially, and this is very true, especially in certain key areas, deployment is a big one. And that's where I spent most of my career, was doing deployments. And so it wasn't necessarily doing programming or things like that, or creating code. It wasn't that. It was just deploying other people's softwares, in my case, in end user computing, and really getting that as a as the hook, I guess you could say, of that was truly, for me anyway, not just knowing the technology that I'm deploying, but all the things around it. And so because I had those experiences, I could charge a lot more for what I was doing. And that is what I found about midway through my consulting career, is like, if I can figure out things that are more valuable than just spending my time, just being there, just showing up, what would that look like? And so there's a couple things that I did, and I talked about this in a previous episode, where I asked to have someone invest their time with me. And I kind of knew, or had a suspicion, that by doing that mentoring time of somebody literally coaching me through how to do this better, that I would now be more valuable to that company. And so them investing in me made a lot of sense, because now all of a sudden I am worth more because I have got a better system than I had before. I'm more effective, and I can spread that to other people as well, and mentor and do things like that that are even more valuable. And so as a leader, I became more valuable because of that, which is actually kind of next tier, is when you are a leader within information technology. And actually, I'll be completely blunt and honest with you right now. That is my complete focus. I am really focused on building up leaders and equipping leaders. And that's why I want to tell you about today's sponsor, which is me and my new virtual CTO offering. And the way this works is that honestly, it's got a couple different things that are going on. For some, your company might just need overall guidance. And I can help you step in and say, okay, here's how to build up a team, here's how to apply a methodology, here's how to establish goals and timeframes and all these kind of things. And so that might be what the need is. In some cases, it might just be that you need a coach to help you along the pathway and hold your hand, I guess you could say. Or I guess another way to say that is somebody who has your back and you can engage with them for a length of time and grow yourself throughout that. Or in some cases, you might just need access to information and encouragement that is on a different level. And so what I would encourage you to do is go to thrive-it.com/PCBJ30. And I just realized that that's not right. Hang on just a second. Um, that link. My apologies for this. Let's correct that link here. I think I can make that work, but it was actually. Edit this on the fly here. And S30. Come on. All right, let's try that again. So it's thrive-it.com/PCNS30. Just so you know, that stands for podcast next steps 30. So this is a way to book 30 minutes with me. And what we'll do is we'll talk about your current goals or your company's current goals, whatever that looks like for your case, and determine what the next best steps for you are. And so that's something I'm offering to my podcast listeners. I wouldn't say it's exclusive by any regards, but this is something that I'm offering to you. Since you've invested the time to be with me, I want to invest my time directly into you. So if you want to spend 30 minutes with me, book a call and we'll go through that either on Zoom or phone. It doesn't really matter which. You just tell me what your preference is on that and we'll make it happen. 30 minutes to your next steps. That is the virtual CTO way of the future. So, in terms of the next pieces of this, obviously there are several different ways that you can invest. And the results of what I did was a very much a next level kind of a thing. And gosh, next level is such a cliche thing to say. But in my case, what actually has happened to fast forward to days like today is that I've recognized that my time is now incredibly valuable. And so I am very, very picky about my one-on-one time. And so if you are a company that wants to exclusively have access to my time, I will probably charge you somewhere around $360 to $400 an hour. That's just what my time is worth. And so if you want that, that's what that looks like. And so I'm not trying to brag, I'm not trying to flex. I'm just telling you that in terms of what that looks like today, that's that time looks like. And I fully expect that a year from now, that I'll be saying that's more like $1,000 an hour. It's available, but my time is worth that much to me now because of what I've done to invest in that, because of that. And so that's what I wanted to kind of talk more about in terms of how did I get to that point? How in the world did I get from, making $50 an hour to now being able to charge upwards of $400 an hour and, people paying it? Well, it's because of the value that I added, but it didn't come automatically. Sometimes people were investing in me. Sometimes I was investing in myself. And of a lot of this, what I found was actually a dear mentor of mine that is unfortunately departed. His name is Dan Miller. And he wrote a book called 48 Days to the Work You Love. And major influence on me. And in fact, I actually was fortunate enough to move to the town he was living in, and I was able to spend time with him. And one of the things that he told me, and he was absolutely right about this, is that you need to be willing to invest a minimum of 3% of what you earn every year back into yourself. Now, I took that a step further even. I said, you know what? What if I did two things? One, I bumped that up to more like 5%. And what if I made it, instead of what I'm currently making, what if I made it what I'm targeting to make? So that meant every year I was investing more and more, because that was my target of what I wanted to bring into my family and what I wanted to be able to invest in and what I wanted to be able to pour into charities. I mean, oh my gosh, y'all, the things I've been able to do, just it puts a huge smile on my face every time I think about the kind of things that I've been able to do from a charity standpoint, just from a giving and expecting nothing back from it standpoint. Just how exciting, I guess. Sorry for getting distracted on that, but I really do get very excited about being able to give freely without any kind of worry about consequence because of that. Now, the other thing I was able to do is invest in a house and pay extra on my mortgage every month. And so I was able to pay that down. So not only am I now more valuable with my time, but even in hard times where, hey, guess what? Hard times sometimes mean that people have a harder time paying for your time. Yeah, it doesn't happen across the board. There's always exceptions, and I certainly have found those. But the reality is that I was able to invest for some rough times in the last few years in my house. And I just, full transparency here, is probably saying way too much information, but I just want to let you know that I experienced 3 years worth of basically losses for my business because I wasn't hustling. I wasn't going after it. I was actually, letting myself recover a bit and try new things. But I was also spending that time investing in learning new things. Everything you see and hear from me these days is all from me spending time investing in coaching for myself, investing in masterminds, investing in courses, reading books, all these kind of things that flow into this. They were all money and, more importantly, time that I spent with this. If it's something as simple as just going to a weekend event with Tony Robbins, for example, or something like reading a book, whatever that looks like. In my case, even writing books, as you probably know, there's been things like that I've spent time with. And even the things that I found that I am giving out when I'm coaching someone, I even get something back myself. I sometimes get encouragement back myself. I sometimes get even insights that I'm giving to the other person that apply to me just as much. And so I'm actually getting some benefit out of that even. But the thing was, I invested in myself and was able to have a time of increase in my value, even if my income wasn't reflecting that at that time. And the cool thing about that in my case was that I was able to say, you know what, I don't want to stop investing in myself. I don't want to stop my process just because we need some funds now, and the savings had run out at that point. And so we made a decision to go ahead and sell our house and eliminate any debts we had built up and things like that, and move to a different area with a less expensive house. And lo and behold, now I'm able to invest more time and did things like this, for example, that I may not have been able to do if I would have gone and gotten a standard job or whatever. So investing is great in a balance. And so that's kind of what we're going to talk about today. And so what we're going to do is we are going to put together a tier list. And you see these on the interwebs all the time on YouTube. You see the tier list of investing. And so let's dive into this with our first item, which is, let's go with real estate. Now, real estate is great because you can have some passive income. Any money you put towards it is more likely to still be there over a longer period of time. And so it's a little bit of a passive income kind of a thing, but you also have some tax breaks and things like that. But honestly, it's a big thing. Your money's locked up for a long while. And so, as far as investing goes, it's not always ideal. And so, where I'm going to put real estate is in the C tier. Yeah, I like C tier. We'll say real estate is C tier investing. Now, let's go with stock market. And stock market is an interesting notion here because you have a problem of a couple of things. One, well, let's call it what it is. It's kind of gambling, and I'll put like cryptocurrency and trading, day trading, all those kind of things right into the same category. It's going to be one of those things where, especially with day trading. Actually, let's talk about day trading and cryptocurrencies trading very specifically here, because the problem is it's a distraction, and you're now giving up your time, right? You have to figure out how this stuff works, and it's not your primary thing. Like, in terms of the time that's spent doing this, you're basically figuring out how to be a better gambler. I'm not saying you shouldn't invest in stocks. I'm not giving financial advice in that regards. I'm just saying, in terms of where I put this, I'm going to put this right in a F tier. And yeah, that's where we put the stonks. And crypto. It all goes right there in the F tier. So what's next? Well, I talked a lot about today about investing in yourself. So let's talk about that. So let's talk about books. Where would I put books in the overall tier of investing? Well, I'm going to put books in the B tier, not just because it begins with B, but because it usually is great information. You can do highlighting, you can do all these kind of things that are good. But what you lack in books is a sense of accountability and time. You can put a book on a shelf, and if you're like me, you have a bad habit of getting through about, I don't know, maybe 60 or 70% of a book, and you just kind of set it aside and you forget to read it. And so I'm going to put books in the B tier. Now, what about podcasts? Listening to a podcast right now, where would DJ put the podcast investing tier? And there's a couple things that flow into this. One, it's readily available. It's very easy. It's free. Like most podcasts are free. I mean, I think there are some out there that are they charge for it, but honestly, aside from a bit of distractions that might come up while you're listening to one, if you're listening to me right now, probably your attention has drifted once or twice. You've probably not taken my advice and focused on this completely. You're probably off doing other things. And DJ is talking. Yes. So in terms of that, sometimes the growth is not always there, but it's kind of nice because you've got a lot of repetitiveness that can come in with podcasts, and you're already probably sensing that with me, that I've have certain themes that I repeat over and over again, like investing in yourself. But as far as a podcast goes, I'm going to put this into the C tier because honestly, it is pretty much information without accountability. Very few people actually click on the links in the description and take action in a podcast. They're usually just on to the next podcast. And by the way, I'm going to put YouTube right in here as well in terms of investing time. It's almost a B for YouTube, but I think because of the way it works and the algorithm is always wanting to get you to the next thing, I'm going to put YouTube and video, social media right there. Actually, social media, I'm going to put an F. I'm just going to say that right away. I know that's ironic because I spend a lot of time pouring into people on social media, but in terms of investing in yourself, I don't think that's where you should focus. I think you really should be elsewhere. So I'm going to put that in F tier. Now let's go on to something else I mentioned. I mentioned courses, taking courses in, whether that be in technology, in leadership, in self-development. I even invested in like health and fitness programs in courses. So where would I put courses? Well, there's some built-in accountability with the course, isn't there? A lot of times there's quizzes or things like that, or sometimes you'll even have reminders that come up to say, "Hey, are you making progress?" You might have an instructor. If it's a live course, sometimes you might have things like they won't let you just slack off and not do anything. If it's a week-long boot camp, for example, you might have a different level of accountability there. You might have some extra content that's in courses that aren't necessarily are in like books. So I have courses, for example, that are based on my books. You can go to courses.thrive-it.com and see all the current offerings. And some of those are based on books, but they're going deeper. And that's the point, is that you have that experience. But the other thing is that I like about this about courses that I would almost put YouTube into a category like this as well, because it's multi-sensory. You can have things that are going on that are resources that you have, like PDFs, or in my case, like for the bonus course for Just Do This, I have spreadsheets and document templates and things like that that are made available. Same thing with some of the other courses where I'm actually guiding you through how to use those. And so it's multi-sensory in that regards. And so with courses, where I'm going to put this, actually, this was a hard one for me to decide between this. It's kind of in between the line, but I still think I'm going to put this in the A tier. And the reason why I'm putting this in A tier for courses is because I really feel that it's still something that isn't utilized quite as well as far as your immediate application to your life. And that is kind of a very important thing when it comes to this investing. And this is just my experience talking. So let me also mention another thing that's a lot like this, and that is things like a membership. So where would a membership be in a tier list like this? Now, memberships are great because a lot of times you'll have up-to-date content, you'll have a sense of community. And I'm not talking about just a Slack group here. When it comes to a membership, I really want to see some quality to it. I want to see what's called a success path. And so when it comes to membership programs like the one we're going to be launching next year, it really is a matter of saying, we're invested in your growth, but we want it to be along the path that makes sense for you. And so that is really great. You have that a little bit more of a sense of accountability, I guess you could say, of belonging. But it is up-to-date information, and you have sometimes more access to a personality. Like with us, we're going to have live content every now and then, and you'll be able to interact with each other and with me. So this is, again, a tough one to put in the tier list. It's either an S or an A. But for today's list, I think I'm going to go ahead and put this in the A group. And the reason why is, well, because in terms of the level of investment and results, I don't always see membership being a way to move forward as rapidly. I think it is somewhere, it's definitely more rapid than like books or other investing, in terms of like you being able to have more value, get a raise, charge more, those kind of things. Those definitely do happen when you have a good membership that you're part of. But in terms of the S tier, like truly like next level, top level, you're not getting past the super level here. S tier stuff for me, yeah, it's not quite there. Now, where would I put things like a mastermind? A mastermind is when you are part of a group of people that are like-minded with you and you are growing together. In some masterminds, you are literally all on the same level and you are keeping each other accountable to grow. And I'm part of a mastermind. Actually, truth is, I'm now part of 3 masterminds like that. And they all have different elements to them. One focuses on my spiritual growth. One focuses on my entrepreneurial growth. And another is just a group of men that we talk about modern manly things, and I'm not talking about the surface level, like, hey, let's go get a beer and drink, have a cigar or whatever. That's not what this is. This is like, no, there's things that I'm not talking about publicly that I need a group to talk with, and so that's a mastermind of men that is specific to that for me as a man. And it might look differently for others, but in terms of that goes, that's one thing. And I'm actually going to put that, as you can tell, I'm pretty passionate about it. I mean, I'll stop the mystery right now. Mastermind goes right into S tier because it is just and a lot of these are not free. In fact, one of the masterminds that I'm part of is very much not free. Well, I'm not afraid to tell you, it's over $1,000 a month for me to be a part of this mastermind. Is it worth it? Yeah, absolutely. The personal and professional growth I've had out of it, the confidence that I have is through the roof because of this. And I know if I didn't have that support from this group of guys, that I wouldn't be there. And so is it worth it? Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. I'm able to get way more effective in my life and the returns are huge. So absolutely, mastermind is S tier category. So where did I put things like group coaching? This is where you are part of a cohort of people that are being coached at the same time. Some of these are limited time, like you might have a 3-month, 4-month, 6-month cohort of group coaching, usually with a specific goal in mind. And I'll give you an example. And I'll just tell you right now that I've been part of these groups where I'm part of one right now that is is entrepreneurial in nature. A lot of these things are actually showing up in the podcast, and we'll be talking about one of these today, actually. But yeah, so a lot of these things that are fantastic. And so where would I put that on the list? Well, yeah, let me fill that in a little bit more, just to give some further context. And it's because that it is being led by someone who definitely knows what they're talking about, who has definitely been there and has learned the hard lessons and has the shortcuts for me. So I could spend years reading books and doing all these things and figuring this stuff out, or being part of this group that's being coached all along the same result at the same time. And so we have a timeline we're at. We have daily goals that we have to do. It's a program. It's not just I'll just learn this and hope for the best. No, there's results that are expected. And it is a thing I'm investing in heavily. So in this particular case, it is, the way this one's structured, just to let you know, the one I'm part of it's about $4,000 that I paid. And it is a 3-month program. And then you have a year of access to the materials and sort of thing. So it's a good investment in that regards because of the results that I'm getting. It's a no-brainer, absolute no-brainer for me, because the things I'm able to do in my business and personal life as a result are worth far more than that for me. So easy investment. So that's where I really like group coaching. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put group coaching right into the S tier. Solidly S tier. Absolute. In fact, if there was something above S tier, I almost put mastermind below this. But they've both been so useful for me that I had to do that. And so there's one more that I want to tell you about, but that'll be right after our resource of the week. So our resource of the week is the bento box. My friend Ruben from Dizian puts this together every month, and it is just amazing to me that you have this this commitment to putting together resources every single month that are again kind of that next level kind of a thing where you have things for the end user computing industry. But the way Ruben does it, because he's just one of my favorite people in the world, he really is. But it's not just things that are useful for you technology wise in end user computing, and there's a lot of it. But there's also things that are kind of industry related Um, and I just realized something here. Give me just a moment. We'll edit this part out. I was going to show, not just tell, on for those of you that are live with me here. There we go. So the every month Ruben puts this together, and there's all sorts of insights that are part of this, right? So you have a bunch of items that yeah, it's different every month, but it's always stuff that's worth your time to go through and worth your time to click on all the links in there and just have this as a reference all month long to get all this kind of stuff. It's free. That's the other thing that's about this kind of stuff is unreal. He puts this forward completely free of charge. It's Dizzy and investing in his time to do this for you. And so I really appreciate that. And so every month, I hope to do this every month anyway, is we're going to feature this as one of our resources of the week for a while. And so every month it'll be the same link, and that is thrive-it.com/bento box. And so you can keep that as a bookmark. And every time you go to that, you'll get to the current bento box. That's just my way of helping out to spread the word about the EUC bento box. And I hope you enjoy. Hope that's something that's valuable to you as well. And yeah, we'll have a link in the show notes as well. So to get back to it, once again, thrive-it.com/bento box. What is the final tier? What is the, where would I put one-on-one coaching in terms of how investing would be? Always, okay, that's hilarious. The idea that Mastermind of Men sounds like a band name. Yeah, I'm with that. But for one-on-one coaching, in other words, you're spending one-on-one time with a coach. And that can mean a bunch of different things, but a lot of times that'll mean that it is, how do you call that? Exclusive. It's just one-on-one. But there might be, times where you just are able to get with them one-on-one unlimited amount of times. It might just be once a month. It varies from place to place, but basically you are working one-on-one with that person. They are identifying what your goals are and giving you solid advice to do that. So where would I put coaching, one-on-one coaching in the S tier? It is, in the tiers, and it is very expensive to get into one-on-one coaching. I'm just going to let you know, this is something where I don't necessarily think that everybody thinks of one-on-one coaching because it is an investment. And I'll just say that any coach that isn't, charging at least $1,000 for one-on-one coaching, $1,000 a month, is probably not worth investing in. And I hate to say that, but that's something I've found. I used to charge a lot less myself for one-on-one coaching. And honestly, that's what I found is I can only meet with them once a month with that kind of charge, one-on-one. And I just wasn't seeing the results. And so I stopped doing it that way. And I've have other programs now. But yeah, the effectiveness is through the roof. Having an individual coach that's that immediate sense of accountability, sometimes in most cases, myself included, being one of those things where you can call on them and they'll get back to you within a day or so. That kind of responsiveness, being able to know that they've got your back, that is something where that is the results for me have been incredible. I think of back in 2000 when I had a coach one-on-one, the results that, well, you saw it, hopefully. If you were following me way back then, or you didn't know who I am, then, or you know who I am now, it's because of that coach that I had and the acceleration that happened there. That whole launching the YouTube channel, that writing and publishing 2 books, all of that came out of finally getting my butt in gear because I had a coach I was paying for at the time. And it was that kind of kick in the tail that I needed. There's also a mastermind I was part of with that as well. It was kind of a combination one-on-one and mastermind, which is really cool. But that was the kick that I needed to get going with all that. And obviously the results have been stellar. So coaching is positively an amazing thing to have. But I'm going to tell you right now, I put one-on-one coaching into the B tier. That's right. Why would I put one-on-one coaching when I've talked about it so highly into the B tier? And I think it's because it's not accessible for everybody at the level it would need to be. And that is a big reason why. It's something where if you have a company that's willing to invest in your time with that, that might be one thing. But on your own, very rarely do I see that exceed that threshold of that 3% point. It'll take up that part of your budget and more. And when I say like, okay, maybe I should just spend a quick moment on this and just kind of do some math with you on this. So let's say that you want to make a salary of $250,000 per year, right? So what you do is you invest 3%. What would that look like over a year? That's $7,500 in a year that you would be investing in that. And that's why, for me, I'm finding that 3% is kind of a minimum that you invest in yourself. And investing in yourself can look like a lot of different ways. Sometimes it's literally just my mentor, Dan, he said that part of that for him, part of his budget was a spa day. He would do things like that. Whenever he would go do public speaking, afterwards he would make sure that he had a spa day, and that's how he would invest in himself, is to have that rejuvenation. And so he put that into this investing in yourself bucket. And so for me, like I said, I like the notion of investing more like between 5 and 10%. So if that looks, as far as like, let's say, same example, let's say $250,000 a year is your target. That would look more like $12,500 that you'd be investing in yourself. And that's pretty realistic. And so when it comes to that investment, that's, you're looking for that results for that S tier, right? And so if coaching is $1,000 a month, and that might fit with that, but that's pretty much all you're doing, right? And so, yeah, it's not always ideal, but here's the reality, is that sometimes I find with that if you're going to spend that much money and you're going to invest that much in yourself, and it's only one thing you can do that year, I would rather do it as a group coaching program where you have a specific goal that you're trying to get to, and you're working with a coach in a group and one-on-one. And so that's where I would invest my time if that was my target. Now, if, let's say my target is $500,000 a year. Well, then, I might be investing a little bit more. I might have group coaching and a mastermind, and I might be going to events. I never think about events. I didn't put that on my tier list. Where would I put events on this? And I'll tell you right now, events, I'm going to put somewhere in either the B or C tier, but I'm thinking it's going to be a C tier. And the reason why is events are great, but they're not always actionable. You tend to have that mountaintop experience where a lot of times you just forget, or you get distracted by a lot of the different things, especially in tech events. You might get one or two good ideas, but they're not ideas that are going to be life-changing. They're not going to affect your ability to command more income. So I almost put an F tier because of that. But here's the thing with events is, especially in-person events, is you're gaining a network. And that network, in my mind, is almost B tier in terms of investment goes. And so I have trouble with events being a C tier, but I can't really justify it being higher than that. But yeah, so that is the investment tier list. Should I put real estate higher? No. Should stonks be higher? No, I don't think so. Invest in yourself, folks. Invest in yourself, and invest in yourself in ways that make sense. Now, is your list going to be the same as this? I don't know. I'm just saying, in my experience in my life, this is the tier list that I have. So again, this is not financial advice, but if it were me, and well, not if it were me, this is me. This is how I'm investing my time and my money. And my time, like I said, is quite valuable. And so the amount of time that I spend right now, I'm in a group coaching program. I'm in this 3-month program. And so I literally have so much of my time being spent investing in myself in the time, not just the learning, but in fact, I'm going to be going here in a couple minutes after this recording is done and being part of a group that's going to be doing some discussion. So I'm going to wrap this up, but I hope this was helpful to you. I hope this is something that is great, but let's do our key takeaways for the day. Sponsored by Just Do This, my book. So key takeaways is that you want to be investing in yourself, but you want to invest in yourself in ways that are actually going to move the needle forward. You don't want to just invest in yourself because it looks good or because you think that it'll just shut your wife up. I'm dead serious. That is something that has happened. I've had a coaching client that actually literally told me that they were doing it just because their wife wouldn't shut up about it, which is great, but that's not the reason. You want to be investing in yourself because you know that you can be worth more. You want to invest in yourself because you know that when you are worth more, you make more. And you want to invest in yourself because you know when you make more, you can give more. You can do more. You can put your kids through college comfortably. You can give more to your church or charitable organization. You can spend more time with your family. You can spend more time with friends. You can spend more time volunteering your time without worry of that costing you because you invested in yourself. And now you're at that other level where your time is more effective and more valuable and you treat it thusly. And that's your key takeaway that's a Just Do This takeaway. So I have something for you. If you are willing to answer one key question and answer it well online, I'm giving you the option of naming your own price on my book, Just Do This, on hardcover. It's normally $47, but I figure, you know what? You spend some time and thinking about one question, which is basically, what is your biggest challenge right now? What are the kind of things that we can be talking about on this podcast? What are the kind of things that we want to focus our upcoming newsletter on? What kind of things look like that? And so if you're willing to give me some feedback with that answer, I'm willing to give you your option to name your own price on my book. You don't have to pay me $47. You can pay me whatever you like. As long as you pay for the printing and shipping, I don't care. I don't need to make money on this. That's not the point of this book, but I do happen to have about 600 of them sitting in my garage. So let's go. So just see the link in the description for more information on how to get that one question, answer that survey, and the book is yours for whatever price you like. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being with me here today. It is going to be a lovely day, a lovely week. Glad to be with you. And like I said, when I'm recording this, it's all election day. And so when you're listening to this, I'm sure that the results will be something. I'm just predicting a bunch of lawsuits, so I'm not really all that interested. I'm spending the time investing in myself, not spending the time glued to the television, wondering what my future might look like. I'm all about investing in myself, and I hope that you will be the same way. Awesome. We'll see you guys next time. Until then, be awesome. Awesome. Well, great to be with you guys. Oh, yes. All right. We have our first vote. He knows coming. The vote for the genre for the song we're gonna be doing. Rock and blues. All right. I like this. Oh, if you have any other suggestions, you can make them, but I think this is already our first one. So let's pull up the I should show you right now. Actually, this week I'm doing something a little bit different. Let me pull up the screen share here. Why is it not showing up? There we go. So I just had Copilot make a song for us based on this today, and so I like this. I gave it a prompt that says catchy song. The dilemma was the people trying to decide between investing in their own career with coaching and courses or if they should invest in the stock market or real estate. That was the prompt. And so, yeah, in the hustle and bustle of the 9 to 5, got dreams together, getting hired, dreams to stay alive. Do I hit the books, get coaching, and learn to thrive? I didn't even give it the thrive keyword, by the way. Or do I play the market, take a risky dive? I like this. So I think what I'm going to do here, I actually just had, I was playing around with this a little bit as we're going along here, just to say this, and so to get the song to be kind of the theme, I always want to have the thrive in there, and so I think I'm just going to make this the usual chorus. Don't just survive IT, you have to thrive IT. And then I think what I can do here is, instead of making this a pre-chorus, what I'll do is make this part of this here. So I'm just going to put this here and then just make that at the end of that. And it's subscribe and thrive, actually. And I think I'll leave out the you'll think it's the bomb thing. I think I'll leave that off on this one. Sorry, kind of a long course. And so what I'll do here is just replace that with this one here. All right, so now what we do is we take this into, oh, did I share with the, okay, I have to stop my screen share for just a second here. And I have to do it with the tab audio so you can actually hear it. So let's go to suno / create. Okay, cool. And then I think what we can do with this is we can actually do a custom song. I've not done this in a while, so I'm hoping to get this right. Yeah, here we go. So let's get started. So I'm going to, yeah, we got that. We got it. The surprise me thing, we're not going to work on this. We've already kind of done the work already. So we'll just paste in our lyrics here. Yeah. And then the style of music, rocking blues. And oh, I haven't done this yet. I need to get the plan going. And let's just say the IT investment blues for the title. All right, what do you think, guys? You ready? We're ready to do this? Oh, I need to add one thing in the thrive-it.com. We'll make them all come true. There we go. All right. This is always the fun part. Let's see what AI comes up with. It's always fascinating to me that it's this fast. Just do it. Do it. Do it now. All right. See what I did there. Yeah. So, fun fact: so we're not being recorded. I was originally going to make the book called "Just Do IT," but there were so many concerns about me being sued by Nike that I was advised not to do it. I am to the point where I might just do it anyway, just because it's so. Yeah, just do IT, just do it. Yeah, it's so obvious, but yeah, the lawsuits were the reason why not. Speaking of lawsuits, let's see how this goes. You'll have to let me know. I think I have the audio shared, but we'll find out.
In the hustle and the bustle of the 9 to 5, got dreams of getting higher, got dreams to stay alive. Do I hit the books, get coaching, and learn to thrive? Or do I play the market, take a risky dive? Don't just survive IT, you got to thrive IT. Should I invest in me or buy a piece of the sky? Grow my mind or watch the stocks fly? Take a course or catch the real estate wave? Which road to riches should I pave? Subscribe and thrive, thrive-it.com. A mentor's wisdom can light my way, guide me through the night, turn dusk into day. But the lure of the market, it's calling me loud. Buy low, sell high, make my family proud. Don't just survive IT, you got to thrive IT. Should I invest in me or buy a piece of the sky? Grow my mind or watch the stocks fly? Take a course or catch the real estate wave? Which road to riches should I pave? Subscribe and thrive, thrive-it.com. Education's the key, unlock potential doors. Yeah, property and stocks promise much more. It's a gamble, it's a game, it's a choice, it's a race. What path to wealth will set my pace? Don't just survive IT, you got to thrive IT. Should I invest in me or buy a piece of the sky? Grow my mind or watch the stocks fly? Take a course or catch the real estate wave? Which road to riches should I pave? Subscribe and thrive, thrive-it.com. In the end, it's me who makes the call to rise above or watch it all fall. Whether it's knowledge or investments I choose, it's my path to walk, my dream to pursue. Thrive-it.com will make them all come true.
That's awesome. Okay. Let's pause that for a second. Yeah, just the first one. Yeah, I agree. Not bad, but a little too auto-tuney. I agree. It's the way AI just kind of works with that. It is very much that way. And I was just interviewed for a podcast yesterday, and one of the things we talked about on that, it was about AI, is the fact that AI has a little bit of a problem with regenerating content. It doesn't process it the way we do, where we're able to dynamically change only the bits that matter. Generative AI right now, it reprompts itself and does some mediocre improvements, but it is essentially doing the work completely all over again, which is a problem with it's not all models, but the GPT model for sure. And so that's one of the reasons why it's using more power and blah, 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 blah. Anyway. So unfortunately, we could tell it to regenerate, but we wouldn't get the same exact results. It's kind of weird, but yeah. So let's listen to number 2, see if we like that one more.
In the hustle and the bustle of the 9 to 5, got dreams of getting higher, got dreams to stay alive. Do I hit the books, get coaching and learn and thrive? Or do I play the market, take a risky dive? Don't just survive IT, you got to thrive IT. Should I invest in me or buy a piece of the sky? Roll my mind or watch the stocks fly? Take a course or catch the real estate wave? Which road to riches should I face? It's rather thrive-it.com. Elemental's wisdom can light my way, guide me through the night, turn dusk into day. But the lure of the market, it's calling me loud. Buy low, sell high, make my family proud. Don't just survive IT, you got to thrive IT. Should I invest in me or buy a piece of the sky? Roll my mind or watch the stocks fly? Take a course or catch the real estate wave? Which road to riches should I face? So try to thrive-it.com. Education's the key, unlock potential doors. Yet property and stocks promise much more. It's a gamble, it's a game, it's a choice, it's a race. What path to wealth will set my pace? Don't just survive IT, you got to thrive IT. Should I invest in me or buy a piece of the sky? Roll my mind or watch the stocks fly? Take a course or catch the real estate wave? Which road to riches should I face? So try to thrive-it.com. Education's the key, unlock potential doors. Yet property and stocks promise much more. It's a gamble, it's a game, it's a choice, it's a race. What path to wealth will set my pace? Don't just survive IT, you got to thrive IT. Should I invest in me or buy a piece of the sky? Roll my mind or watch the stocks fly? Take a course or catch the real estate wave? Which road to riches should I face? It's rather thrive-it.com. In the end, it's me who makes the call to rise above or watch it all fall. Whether it's knowledge or investments I choose, it's my path to walk, my dream to pursue. Thrive-it.com will make them all come true.
You know, that's a tough one. I'm not sure how to choose between those two. I think I like the overall feel of the first one, but I don't know. The second one had its own little charm that I think was maybe more of what I was going for. So everybody will have to let me know in the comments of this video and whatnot. And I'm trying to figure out a better way to do voting on that as we go along. I'm sure we'll figure out how to do that. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. Oh my gosh, that is so much fun. So yeah, in terms of that, oh wow, that's from last week. Yeah. By the way, I'm encouraging people to get the goal on Audible and go through that because in I think 2 weeks' time, 2 weeks. I need to look at my schedule again. But what we're going to do is we're going to do a deep dive podcast into how the goal and the Phoenix project fit into modern IT, especially in the age of AI. And so that is something that if you are, if you've not listened to that in a while, or if you never have, definitely do it. It's going to be enriching for you. But I think in terms of IT, and especially in IT leadership, might be one of the most important messages that we have coming up here soon. So look for that. Yeah, I agree. The rockabilly, it just kind of worked. I think that's what we were going for. So I think my gut says number 2 is probably going to be it. But yeah, let me. Oh, you know what? Let me put that back up at the screen here. The goal. Since we're live for this part. I'll try to remember to put a link in the description as well, just in case. I forgot that last week and I need to do that. So when the podcast goes live, obviously I'll have that in there. But that's the other thing that I was hoping to have ready for you with a link to subscribe and all that kind of stuff. But unfortunately, that is not ready for us. So what I'll say here is that obviously we want to be subscribed. We'll make an announcement on this. Probably Friday is the official launch date. And so I might as well just do it then. It is going to be the official launch of this podcast. And so just to let you know, obviously we've had 3 of these recorded episodes. Those are going to go into the queue. I've got other episodes that have already been pre-recorded in a different format. And in fact, those of you that remember coaching in a car, yeah, I've actually done some of those episodes in the car. And so I didn't like it as much for the podcast format. I thought it would be great and not have the risks of being on video and that sort of thing, which I kind of think is probably not the smartest idea for liability reasons to be encouraging things like that. But at the same time, the audio just didn't work out as well as I'd like. But you know what? I'm going to publish them anyway. And so the first few episodes will be things like that. We'll be coaching in the car and things like that. But I personally like this format a lot better. I think this works out well. So I welcome your feedback as well as terms of if this is something that you want to continue with. Another thing to keep in mind here is, do I have the link here? I don't know if I do. But I'll make sure to have this in the show notes as well, is to have a link to subscribe to the new newsletter system. And yeah, so the reason for that is every week we're going to have an additional content going out of the newsletter format. And so it's going to follow the theme and anything that comes up in the podcast episode. But my goal is to have some deeper dives in that as well. So to make that kind of a additional valuable resource for you, and not just another thing you just, skip over. And along with that, the new system will actually have some capabilities of messaging you in different ways, like text messaging. I'm hoping for WhatsApp and some integrations like that are coming, so that you can actually have some options and not just be just email to hear from me. And so I'm hoping for that soon. So look for that. There's exciting things coming. And this is all based on investments I'm making in myself, like I was saying. So this is improving things and just kind of listening and seeing what is working for everybody and what's not. And so we'll just keep doing that and keep continuing on. But hey, I do hope that you have been challenged and blessed by what you've learned here today. Hopefully you'll take these things to heart. But I'm going to sign off and rest, because man, there's nothing like talking for an hour and a half straight. So I hope you guys have a great day, and we'll see you out there. Like I said, podcast launches Friday. So be watching out for that. I'll make the announcement on LinkedIn and YouTube, also to the email list that we currently have. And we'll go from there and see how this grows and thrives on its own. Thanks for being with me today, and we'll see you next week. Same bat time, same bat channels. Have a great one, everybody.